Next tonight, what I thought was an astounding figure. In the last 3 years, 860 children have arrived in this region alone, having travelled thousands of miles to escape violence, war or persecution. Each one of them seeking safety and asylum here. The youngest was just 9 years old. Barney Chowdhury has been looking into the real-life stories behind that statistic. This is his report.
Ahmed came to Britain from Afghanistan 6 years ago. He was 14 and travelled thousands of miles on his own. We can't identify him because his family are still there and could be in danger. We've used an actor to tell us his story.
So in my province, when you get to 14, you are forced to join the Taliban. I didn't want to join them because they kill innocent people. I told my dad and he agreed. And with the help of some agents, they helped me escape Afghanistan.
Ahmed didn't realise these agents were actually people smugglers. His story of how he got to Essex is horrendous, but typical of many unaccompanied children. Much of the time, Ahmed walked with a group of up to 40 people through mountainous terrain. He was the only child without family or relatives.
I watched innocent people die in front of me. In Bulgaria, we were locked up in a cell and beaten. And in France, the police got us and they beat us. They didn't care I was a child.
After several months, Ahmed made it to Calais, to what was called the jungle. People smugglers there told him that to complete his journey to the UK, he'd have to get on the back of a lorry. That too was dangerous because if they were caught, French police would use CS spray to deter them. After more than a dozen attempts, Ahmed eventually made it to Felixstowe. Children like Ahmed arrive from all over the world. Our investigations found they come from more than a dozen countries, including Syria, Iran, Morocco and Eritrea. We've been told that when a child gets off a lorry, they'll usually hand themselves over to the police. Children under 18 are usually looked after by local authorities. Now, depending on the age of the child and the local council, they'll either be handed over to a private contractor, a local charity, or put with a foster family. Those are the lucky ones. An immigration lawyer has told us about the distressing dangers some children face.
They're often kidnapped by other agents, sold on to other agents, and then kept in warehouses, sometimes for years at a time. And you can imagine for a female, what goes on with the females. They face rape constantly.
Once the child makes it to Britain, the Home Office takes over. We've discovered that in our region it gives local councils about £14 million a year to look after unaccompanied children. The government money helped 860 children aged between 9 and 17 over the past 3 years. Essex takes in the most numbers. As of the 30th of June this year, the county council's looking after more than 140 unaccompanied children. Lucy Stevens is a foster mum from Essex. Her first foster child was from Afghanistan.
These are our kids, forced through no fault of their own to flee really horrific situations with no one to look after or care for them. But they will have had that care and attention and love and, you know, good upbringing in their childhood previous to that happening.
Yeah.
And that makes a massive difference. And I think it's about the child, it's about the one person that you can stop for and do something for.
Ahmed echoes that message.
I feel that children just want to be safe, and most of them want to get basic education and get jobs, and they can't do that because of war.
He's hoping to make a life for himself in his new home and, most importantly, give something back to the country which has taken him in. Barney Chowdhury, BBC Look East.
Well, Catherine Sidoli works for Suffolk County Council supporting asylum-seeking children. The council is currently looking after more than 100 children and teenagers, children who have seen and experienced things that children should never see. I asked her what the first steps are when they arrive in this region after a long and traumatic journey.
We have to start with those initial basic needs such as food, safety, sleep, rest, and from there we then have to build trust with our young people, because they've come from situations where they don't trust authorities, they don't understand what social care is, what a social worker is, what a foster carer is.
So the ideal situation is to then get these children into foster care. Is that the ultimate aim for you from that point?
So if we're looking at young people that are under 16, we always source foster placements for those children, and at the moment we try to place within our counties. Sometimes that isn't possible, just purely because of the sheer numbers of young people.
And how much support are you able to give those foster families? Because, as you've said, these children have experienced so much.
It's something that has been championed very strongly within our council, and we have different professionals and organisations that we can refer to get advice, to get therapeutic services and psychological services for our young people when they need that.
And when all that support is in place and it comes together and it works, have you seen young people's lives turned around?
You see a huge growth in development. It's really noticeable, a massive peak in self-confidence, self-esteem and pride. We definitely see the development in our young people when we work with them.
Catherine Sidoli, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Still to come, Alex with the weekend weather. The world's